Bullet Ahead is a fairly simple tale. You have three criminals who have just committed a robbery. They end up at this warehouse. The police are searching for them in the outskirts, so they have to hide out for a little bit. So they go in there, take some cover, and it turns out that there is this massive dog who is a trained fighter that is out for blood and pretty much hunting these guys down throughout the rest of the movie. The one thing that caught my attention was the ridiculously good cast. You've got Adrian Brody, John Malkovich and Rory Culkin as the three criminals trapped within this building. You've also got Antonio Banderas in a kind of side plot because it explains why the dog's there. You have this kind of mob-like unit that has brutal dog fights, and they kind of use a warehouse, they use it for gambling, they use the dogs up, and then if there's any dogs that need to be destroyed, they kind of do it and then leave the place. But somebody was attached to this brutal killing dog and couldn't quite pull the trigger on this one, so they let it go, and it is out for blood against these three criminals. It's like I said, a ridiculously good cast, which made me hit play. The movie has a kind of feeling about it. It takes me back to the late 90s, mid 90s, when Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction had come out and everybody was trying to ape Tarantino. You had all these slew of imitators, none of them quite worked as well as the master. This feels as if it would be something that would work in amongst all those slew of imitators that never quite matched the master himself. That's what we get with Bullet Head. It has some nice directorial touches about it. Quite often it has the criminals sitting down talking because, let's face it, the plot's fairly simple, so they need to take it away somewhere else at some point. So they'll be sitting talking about a job, about their history, something that happened to them in the past, and it'll go to that story with them talking about it, while as it's playing on, they're sitting in the middle of this conversation. That they're having a conversation while what they're talking about plays out round about them. It's nice, flourish, but it's unnecessary. There's lots of conversations that feel as if it's being clever and witty, but you can see through what it's trying to do. You can see it for the construction that it actually is, which is a real shame because as the movie starts off, I was expecting something a little bit better. You keep getting this sort of fisheye lens effect of the dog's perspective as it's kind of chasing them down. And the dog seems to be a little bit smarter than most, going through nooks and crannies, climbing up things to get to these guys. At one point, there's one guy in a grand piano trying to take cover. It's got no sort of top on it whatsoever, so he's exposed. And the dog never just jumps in and mauls him. It starts to like ram the side of it or try to take the leg away from it, at which point you're like, surely this dog who was smart enough to climb over certain elements to get to these guys, go through holes and roofs and walls, surely it would just jump those 2 feet into the grand piano and maul this guy. But then that would be the last of our hero. There was an interesting plot at some point, as I thought these three guys were in a kind of purgatory. This was the Grim Reaper hunting them down and they were dealing with their past transgressions, but the movie never gets as clever as that, although it tries to act as though it does. Ultimately, it's a movie that left me underwhelmed by the fact that we had this great talent behind it doing this mediocre story that left me kind of cold and didn't really mean anything to after the fact. Bullet Head was uninspiring. It had some nice flashy touches to it, had some great performers in it, but everybody's cashing a paycheck, going by the numbers, doing the basics to get by. It's a movie that I won't think about ever again after I've done this review. It's a movie that I hopefully won't have to talk about. Not that it was majorly wrong, it just was boring, uninteresting, something I had seen done plenty of times before with more swagger and more style and definitely a lot more substance. I'd love to know what you thought of Bullet Head. Let me know in the comment box below and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.